While the list of free-to-play games is short, some of these titles provide quite a substantial amount of playtime, but others can be bogged down with pay-to-win incentives. Folks in general seem to love free things and lists, and I've combined them both in today's video. It may be really hard to find something good to say about Onigiri, but I'll try my hardest. I'm sorry, I really can't recommend this game in good conscience. Well, maybe to my worst enemy. This title does a lot of things wrong. One example, in one of my playthroughs there was a cutscene, and what was meant to be dialogue between two characters actually had like 3 to 4 characters all talking at once. Onigiri is an MMO, and chatting with other players is an absolute slog. The only way to chat is through Nintendo's text dialogue. As with many free-to-play MMOs, this one is supported with microtransactions, and Onigiri has a ton of them. The microtransactions have so many different types of currencies as well. Good luck with this one. Dawnabreakers is definitely from the mobile gaming space, with daily objectives all the way down to how quests and missions are handled. There is also a gacha mechanic called capsules, in which you can attain items such as different skins and characters. Although you can purchase gems with real money, they can also be earned by completing the main, daily, and event missions, albeit a lot slower. This obviously affects your progression through the game, bringing it to a crawl. The actual gameplay is nothing really to write home about. It's very basic in nature and provides very little in terms of variety. Initially derived from the mobile gaming space, Fallout Shelter is a resource management simulator at its core, but offers some RPG mechanics in terms of weapons, armor, and the special stat if you're familiar with the Fallout universe. And for those that are familiar with the Fallout universe, they may feel right at home, but just remember you aren't getting the traditional first-person RPG experience. During my playtime with Fallout Shelter, about 2 hours on the Nintendo Switch, I found that playing in docked mode was very cumbersome and really clunky. While playing in handheld, using only the touchscreen felt much better. Fallout Shelter can be played totally free without the need of microtransactions, although purchasing items with real-world money can speed up the resource processing and help you obtain higher grade cards, among other things. DC Universe Online is one of the very few MMORPGs on the Nintendo Switch. With its very recognizable backdrops, there isn't really much else to this title. While the visuals aren't really stunning and the audio is something from a forlorn era, the gameplay is actually there. And if the devs have it in them, it may be time for a graphical engine upgrade. The most major issue I see with DC Universe Online are the microtransactions. While there is a majority of content in DC Universe Online for free, there is an optional monthly subscription. At first glance, Gems of War seems like your ordinary Bejeweled clone. But sprinkle in a little high fantasy and some decent RPG mechanics and you'll have a pretty good game. While there may be some replayability, especially for the completionist, just be aware that microtransactions are almost a must midway through the campaign. After reading several reviews, many of them state that the difficulty spikes at a certain point and it almost warrants the purchase of these microtransactions. The touchscreen is enabled and could provide longer and more natural playtime, just as if you were on your phone. Warframe may have the highest install base of the games in this list. It's also the most polished title in this list. The amount of content available from the start all the way to the end rivals many AAA titles. Not needing the Nintendo Switch Online subscription service is one of the fantastic aspects of Warframe. Also, players can voice chat with their teammates and collect all the Warframes, just like with the competitive consoles. There is no doubt in my mind that Warframe has the highest amount of polish, and that has to be due to the help from Panic Button Studios, the wizards of developing for the Nintendo Switch. As I'm in the process of writing this all out, Nintendo has announced during an Indie World presentation, and lo and behold, Dauntless was announced. Not only was it announced to come to the platform, it was available to download that day. If you follow this channel or listen to the podcast, you would have known that I've been wanting this to come to the Switch for a while now. I did get to play Dauntless on day one, and it felt good. It felt like a proper Monster Hunter experience. I think that the devs could use some optimization, especially in the main player hub, but overall it feels like a complete game, without the need for microtransactions. The microtransactions for the most part were cosmetic, although some were XP boost items, which do not really ruin the experience for others as there really isn't any PvP. There aren't many free-to-play RPGs on the Nintendo Switch eShop. In fact, I've named them all. Perhaps the quality and free-to-play mechanics will improve with time. What I'm hopeful for is that there can be a meeting point for both the consumer and developers where we can enjoy the content and the developers can make their hard-earned money. Once again, my name is Gio from SwitchRPG.com. Thank you again for watching, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.